Hi there, it's John from Innover UK and welcome to this training video where we're gonna see how to personalize your FPC manual. And the purpose of this step is just to personalize your FPC manual, meaning the document called FPC XXXX in the FPC documentation folder. The time requirement is somewhere around 15 minutes if you have already read this FPC manual. And basically what you need is just the FPC manual. And here on our web page you can see the step-by-step instructions, so you can always go back to this for more details. But basically what you need to do is just open this folder and open the FPC XXXX. And you're going to need a Word, Microsoft Word. I'm not sure if this works properly with OpenOffice or LibreOffice, but you can always try. But we recommend you to use and get the MS Word, because this way all these graphics and tables and smart arts work perfectly. So you don't have to use your own time to modify those. But the first thing that you need to do is just like put your company's name here. So let's put it like example limited, and then the address of production family. Let's put our Finnish address here. And also we need to put the company here. And then we are gonna put the name of the person who approves this FPC documentation, FPC system here. Let's put myself here. But of course, whoever approves this can be, for example, quality manager and even a welder if you just want to use those names. But usually it's a managing director or a quality manager or something like that, someone higher in the company. And then what you're going to do, well, what you're going to have to do is name the person who is actually responsible for the FPC manual and FPC system, and also who's responsible for the CE marking. So you just put the first and last name here. So I'm just going to name myself. And then you're going to just see if it's he or she. Yeah. And then you're going to name here the person who's responsible that all employees who are involved with manufacture of structural steel products understand the individual responsibility and duties. So basically this can be the same person as the person who's also responsible for the FPC system. And it usually is like, for example, in this case, I'm responsible for the FPC system and also for the employees. And then the next step that you have to do is just fill out the table 1 of this FPC manual. And here this is a collection of what is done in-house and what is subcontracted to subcontractors. And here we have all the processes that can be included in the manufacturer of structural steel product. And then you just place an X if you do it yourself, and if it's being subcontracted, you're going to put just X next to the subcontracting. And if there are some notes, for example, if we have a surface treatment and it's being subcontracted to a company who is not going to CE mark their product, so for example, we could put over here X, and then we would non-EN 1091. So this basically would mean that we would be responsible for the quality of wet painting in this case. And you can put whatever notes you want here. And you can even place the name of the company here if you want to. But usually what we have done is that if the subcontractor is not going to CE mark the product, they're just going to mention it here. And if, for example, if we are buying preparation for surface treatment from outside and they are able to CE mark their product, so they have a valid 1091 in place, we're just going to leave the notes empty. So this is the next step. So fill out the table 1 for the in-house resources and subcontracted products. Then the next step is basically to define the product families. And this is actually quite important task because this also relates to the initial type testing and initial type calculation. So because you have to perform ITT and ITC for each product family. And how you might want to do this is just to define it through a welding processes. So depending on how many welding processes you have, then it's going to determine how many product families you have. So, for example, if you have only MAC welding, you're going to define the product family as those steel products according to the EXE2 that are made with welding process 135. So this is the official number of MAC welding. And then this rest of this is just standard line. And here we define the hardest and the steel that has lowest weldability that is going to be included here. So basically MAC welding and steel 355 or with a lower, well, actually better weldability. So MAC welding and 355 or lower. Structural style steel or lower mechanical properties like 235. So you need to define all the product families, and if you have MMA, you're just gonna put here structural steel products. If you have another process, what you can do is like just copy the text and put it there, name it 2, and then if we have MMA welding, it's called 111, and then the rest is the same, and then you would have like 2 product families. The next step is you can just skip here, and then you're gonna well, you don't have to actually edit that one. The next step that you have to do is add here all the standards that you own. And our FPC documentation requires that you own some of the standards, and you're just gonna have to add them here. And if you have some extra standards, you can just add them here in this table. It's quite easy. You just go to the table layout and place below, and you're just gonna get this different. There are new rows that you can use. The next step is to fill out this human resources organizational chart or figure 3. And you can do it just by double clicking the figure. And here you can just like name who's ever responsible or who's in the overall charge and managing director usually. And then you're going to name the welding responsible welding coordinator. Let's call it Max Payne. And then we have had some questions what to put here. And usually it's purchasing, then there is manufacturing, maybe like sales, I don't know. And this is kind of like just used to define the authority in the company, so just to have an organizational chart. But if you are a micro company with only like 2 employees, you can just leave this out. But it's actually quite beneficial to have it no matter how small the company is, but use your judgment on when this is required and when not. And then you just like put whoever is responsible for purchasing. Let's call him Kim Kardashian and so on. And you would just fill out this. You would just fill out this organizational chart. Usually you don't have to edit this table 4 that deals with responsibilities and obligations in general. But what you need to do is edit this table 5. Sometimes it may be blurry like this, but it's just, I don't actually know why it makes it like this, but you can just double click it and it opens in Excel. I opened the wrong file. Okay, and here you can see, and what you need to do, this is used to define the responsibilities in more detailed way. And you're just gonna put your employees here, and then you're just gonna X those responsibilities that are related to the person. For example, I would just like myself again. And then I would think about, okay, what am I responsible for? Okay, I'm responsible for the organizational responsibilities, internal audits, management audits, FP system trainings, personal And I would also be in machines, test equipment, and so on. And this can be used. And then if we had a welding coordinator, was it Kim Kardashian? No, Max Payne. And he would be responsible. Let's say that we are a small company, and he would be in charge of the whole manufacturing process and also for the welding and so on. You just keep on adding different tasks, and so you would just keep on adding different responsibilities and new employees, and then when you close it, it's just going to be really short right here. Then what you're going to have to do is just go all the way down, down, down to the section 4.5 product planning and execution. And here you can see all the different working instructions that we have prepared. And what you need to do is delete all those that do not concern you. So basically, we defined here in the beginning in the table 1 what processes are done in-house. So basically, this table and the table here has to agree on what you do in-house. So if we in the table 1 we decided that okay, we don't actually do any cutting or sharing, and we have subcontracted it, and then we would just take this table and remove this row, and then we would have to okay, now it kind of looks funny because the first W32 would be the first, then we would have then we would just go over these and correct the numbers so that they actually match. So, and this is the first thing, the thing that you must do is just go over all these working instructions that you have actually going to include in the FPC documentation. And then what you need to do is go to the table 6 and see which of these special processes you have. So if you do holding, you have to perform the procedure test for holding. And if you do thermal cutting, you have to do the procedure test for thermal cutting. And naturally, if you do not have thermal cutting, you can remove this row. And if you don't do any holding, you can also remove this whole table. And you just actually remove this whole section here. And then what you need to do is go to the section 5, welding. And if you don't do any welding, you can just remove this whole section as it doesn't concern you. But if you do welding, the first thing you need to do is choose the correct welding processes that are used in the workshop. So you just delete the extra ones here. So if you do MMA, you just leave it there. And if you do MAC, you're just going to leave MAC there. So we would have it like it is. So we would only have 2 processes that are used in the manufacture of structural steel products. And the thing is that CE markings only concern themselves with the workshop. So if you use MMA only at the erection site, you can remove it because only those welding processes that are used in the workshop must be included here. And then what you need to do is go to the responsible welding coordinator, is name the responsible welding coordinator. For us, it was Max Payne. And then you can just use it here. What you need to do next is go to the section 5.3, welding procedure specifications. And as you may remember and know already, all welding procedure specification must be based on a suitable welding process qualification report. So here you just delete those standards that the VPSs are not based on or have not been qualified according to. So if you use one of those 1090 WPS, VPS welding books, they are called standard welding procedures, then you would just delete these 2. But if you actually qualify your VPSs with welding procedure tests or pre-production welding tests, then you would just leave them all here. But what you need to do is delete the extras that you are not basing your VPSs on. Then you can just go down, 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 and to the section 5.6, inspection and testing. And what you need to do here is just name the person or the group of persons who does inspections before welding. And how we usually have done this is just name the welding coordinator. And then you go here that talks about non-visual NDT testing, and we usually just subcontract it, and you just say or name the subcontractor that you might be using if you ever needed to test dead welds with, for example, ultrasound or radiographics or whatever. So here we could put example NDT Ltd. And this would be the subcontractor that we would use in case we ever had welds that needs to be NDT tested. And basically that's it. And the last thing you need to do is just put the date that when you made the last modifications here. So today is the 8th of December 2014. And then you would just like, who approved this and does it require training? And if it requires training, you might already understand that you have to have a proof of it. So you would go to the document templates, and then you would just go to the training document and fill out this after you have completed the training. So basically this is it. And oh yeah, one thing that I forgot is structural design process. So if you do structural design, you just delete this one. And if you do not do any structural design, you just delete this part, and that's it.